Meeting to order.
Go ahead and say that again, please.
Pardon me?
Say that again, please.
I would like to call the Economic Development Commission meeting to order for January 27th, 2021. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to
Pledge allegiance
to the flag
States of
of the
America,
United States of America,
to
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. We're going to have a roll call, and since we have no recording secretary, I'm going to call it out. Erica?
Here.
Joe Barry?
Here.
Carl?
Here.
Kelly?
Here.
Rob Godoy?
Here.
And myself, John D. Young, and Council Member Brian Blazak?
Present.
Thank you. Tonight, we're going to have a nominations, elections for officers tonight. So the floor is open for president, vice president, and I'm going to add one more temporarily, recording secretary. So I'd like you all to think about this. The town has expressed to me that they are trying to get somebody, but we had no minutes last year recorded, and we really need to stay on top of that for our committee. So if I have a volunteer for that, we're hoping it's only going to be a meeting or two, and then they'll have somebody in place possibly. So I'll open the floor up for president. Any nominations?
I'll nominate John DeYoung.
I'd like to second the nomination.
Anybody else want to nominate? Okay, roll call. Erica?
Aye.
Yeah. Joe?
Yes.
Yep. Carl?
Yes, in favor.
It's for officers approving me as president, yeah. Kelly?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
And thank you. Now for vice president, want floor open for nominations for vice president. Huh?
Who wants it?
Anybody want that job? Rob, you want that?
You can nominate.
All
I'll
right.
nominate.
All right.
Rob Godoy.
Vice president, the nomination is Rob Godoy. So roll call again. Erica?
Yes.
All right. Joe?
Yes.
Carl?
Well, I second and approve.
Yeah. And Kelly?
Yes.
And myself, yes, I'll vote for Rob for vice president. Now, we're going to open this up for a recording secretary, and hopefully it's only for a meeting or two here. But is there any nominations for secretary?
I can do it. Erica. I nominate.
Is that
myself.
Erica?
Yeah.
Thank
Yes.
you, Erica. May I have a
Second.
vote?
I'll second.
I'll second it, okay. Thank you. Then Erica, you are nominated for recording secretary. Thank you very much. At tonight's council meeting, there will be a possible new member that will be nominated for our committee. So at our next meeting next month, we should have a full board, and we will find out after tonight's meeting who that will be. Last year, we've been working on a conceptual idea of a beautification facade program for the town, and I have packets here for what Crown Point and what Hammond has done. We worked a little bit on it last year, but with COVID, we've been kind of dispersed here because of lack of funds. So now, from my understanding, we do have some funding for this project. It's not a lot of money, but we do have some money that we can proceed forward with this. So I do have these packets here, guidelines of what 2 other communities have done. And I would like us all to, if you don't have them, I'll make sure that everybody gets them within this next week. I can leave them either in the office or I will personally bring them to your home or business. But then for our next meeting, I'd like to go over and discuss some parameters that we can work within our budget. But we do need to look at these other communities to kind of get a guideline on what we can adapt for St. John. So I do have these tonight. I will pass them out to Joe and Rob here. There.
I got
And you got them. And Councilmember Blazek.
I'll just send them down.
Yep, there we go. We got those. What I would also like to happen, if I leave these packets in the office, maybe you can, the other members that are here with us remotely, if you could stop and see Clerk Beth Hernandez or Deputy Clerk Katie Minchuk to be sworn in for this commission of the Economic Development Committee. So if you guys would do that in the next week or so, then we will be all set for next month's meeting also.
John, if I can interrupt a second.
Yep.
We're introducing, after we vote on it,
Yep,
we are introducing tonight our new planning and building director.
very good.
Sergio will be joining the team. He's gonna be here later to be introduced. We're gonna introduce him to the town and swear him in. So,
And what is Sergio's last name?
Mendoza,
Mendoza.
yes. And he's got extensive experience and background, especially, and I'm looking at your sheets and it's pretty interesting because he comes from Holbert.
Oh, very good.
And he's been active in redevelopment and such for many years. So
And maybe we can get him at our next meeting.
I was
here.
just gonna say, maybe you can beg and plead, and maybe I'm sure he'll be interested in what you might be up to, and maybe he might be able to help you.
Well, we certainly can use that help. I haven't been informed yet what our budget will be for, and I thought maybe we could get together at some point after your council meeting, and then you can share that with me, and then I can pass that along to our committee here. So then we've got some parameters to work with, and
Let's put it this way, we've got a whole lot on our plate, so maybe we won't get to it today, but
That's
we
what I'm
we
saying.
can do it within the next week or so.
that'll be great.
Okay.
I appreciate that. Thank you
Yeah.
very much. So we were talking about the beautification or facade program, and we're keeping that in our TIF district, starting at Wall Street and going down 41 to the south to the end of the TIF district, which I believe is 231.
Oh, we're gonna include part of Joliet.
Huh?
We're going to include part of Joliet too, I thought.
Yeah, and parts of Joliet Street. So what we need to do is specify those areas. I would ask each member to get through town and identify some things that could be considered. And then we will get with Mr. Mendoza and seek his advice and guidance on some of these things too that we can kind of adapt for our town here. So I'm looking forward to working with him on that. So Do we have any other reports from any of the members? Rob, do you have anything?
I don't have anything to report, but I did have a question
Yep.
on business from last term.
Yep.
Did we get any headway on those liquor licenses for the riverfront corridor, the waterway corridor?
Yeah, Mr. Phillips is no longer with the town, so that has kind of stalled out. But from my understanding is those licenses are handled by Indianapolis, and after the census is, two more licenses should be available after this census is compiled. I don't even know if that's done yet. Brian, do you?
It's, ours isn't nobody's in the United States to my knowledge. And in fact, I just heard the other day, noticed the other day that the Fed hadn't even finished yet.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
therefore, it hasn't trickled down.
So,
Be a while.
I guess, also, on top of your question, Mr. Blazak, is there a way that the town can get control of those licenses and hand them out, even if it's the town council or planning and zoning? Are they able to get a hold of them, or those have to be purchased, from what I understand?
From what you understand, I don't have a complete working knowledge, but here again, I might put Sergio on the spot now, but
Yep.
at the same time, he may have more insight into it since he was in the redevelopment plane,
Yeah.
and that would be part of expansion and or redevelopment. And from what I recall, talking with Mr. Phillips, it's just a matter of time now. We have to wait until the census is done and they hand out the licenses or assign them to, I
Yeah.
guess, each.
I know everything's backed up, so, I mean, I understand it, but I have a lot of residents that I run into, and that's the first question they asked is, we need more restaurants, we need finer dining, and it always seems to be the top of the list. So I don't know how the other members,
Yeah, no.
if you get that too, Joe, but,
I mean, we might be able to bring Sergio in on the possibility of getting more licenses through that program with the waterfront.
yep,
From what I understand, those licenses aren't the same,
Yep.
whereas people don't buy them, they're actually leased, so the town has a lot more discretion on those.
The town doesn't own them,
Yep.
per se. The liquor board, I guess the liquor board, state of Indiana, controls them and owns them.
all right, so who do you know on that board?
On the liquor board?
Yes, anybody?
Zero.
Is there any way that we could get that, a representative from that board to one of our committees so we can kind of facilitate, because I think the people that ask the questions are going to maybe get answers faster than some of these other towns.
Let me do this, since I'm sitting in the other office
Yep.
currently. Let me make a phone call or two and see what I can find out.
I sure would appreciate it.
Okay? That's
could
all I can promise is
Yep.
I'll search it out and see what I can come up with.
Can I make a quick interjection?
Yep,
I worked with Mr. Phillips on making the map for that riverboat
Yep.
item,
yep.
and it does not look promising based on the amount of,
Water available?
well, and that's also assuming that we can get everything reclassified as a river. But even then, most of that land is already owned by people and it wouldn't be eligible for said
Got it.
license. So
So
we
that's
decided
out. then.
loosely, it's not really worth it because of the headache involved in trying to get it, plus the very few small parcels. I mean, I can show you the map. I spent a fair amount of time making it, and
Yeah.
it's just, in the long run, Mr. Phillips didn't really think it was worth pursuing.
I was just gonna say, if you remember, we had lunch that one day, or had the meeting one day.
Right.
And his comment to me quietly afterwards was, it don't look promising, but we can take a shot at it. So,
Right.
I'm just saying Jason is pretty well on track.
So I know I brought the Boyer development to possible restaurants, but that was the hangup is liquor licensing. And, you know, that would have been a nice area for in the shops on 96 there to have, you know,
Mr. Blazak, when you're speaking, could you please make sure your microphone's turned on?
Yep.
The online people are having a hard time hearing you.
Okay, sorry.
Do we have any stagnant licenses now? Any licenses that are owned but are not being used?
well, that I don't know.
Not to my knowledge, but that's limited.
I was under the understanding that everything that was available is
Is,
being used.
is used and/or owned, and
That's correct.
so therefore,
Yeah.
not really.
So if you can find that out, that would be great, Mr. Blazek, and we certainly would like to pursue some advice from Indianapolis on that, so we can possibly try to facilitate something that the town could control, even if it was a lease, that they had the ability, if somebody was approaching the town for a restaurant, that they have that in their toolbox to give out a little.
Yeah, and it might be a good idea to connect with that state agency also to see if there is any other leasing agreements that we could qualify for, not
Oh, no,
specifically. the-
once I make the phone call, my curiosity will go wild, and I'll do the best I can to come up with anything and everything that could help us.
I appreciate that, so thank you very much.
Sure.
Really, that, with tonight's being the first meeting, I didn't know where we were gonna be with our agenda, and we still have to work some of those things out with the town council. So that's really all I've had for tonight. I do have these extra packets that I want each member to kind of work on. And then at our next meeting, you know, I'm kind of hoping we could have a study session on this. And if you can attend, the ones that are remote, we have plenty of space here to get social distancing. And I would like to almost make that a study session to really kind of compile something that we can turn over to the town council for consideration. So,
Yeah, John, this is Carl. Can you hear me?
yes.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Of course, we don't know what will be waiting for us in the future regarding, you know, the social distancing and all the other stuff that we're having to deal with. But would it be possible for us to just set up some study sessions every month, kind of at, just go ahead and set them all up now so that we could plan to work together? And then if you find that we don't have anything to work on for our agenda, you can cancel them as president. But it would be nice to have that so that we can have all that set up ahead of time and plan to work together, understanding, of course, that the public would be served notice of this. But that would be, I don't know, I would appreciate that if we could do that, if it's something that you support.
Sure, why don't we plan our next meeting next month to work on this, and then we can also come up with some more ideas and kind of formulate what direction we can go for the year, because we really haven't had much guidance from the town council on anything that they were working on, because frankly, last year was a shortfall in a lot of the things that the town had commitments for already, so funds were limited. So now, if we can plan on that for next month, we'll work on our facade and beautification program, and then we can talk about moving forward with some of these other things. I think it'd be a great idea, so thank you for that
Yeah,
suggestion.
no, thank you. Yeah, thank you, John, because I know that last year, I know that we started off with, such, I don't know, excitement and enthusiasm, and then March kind of hit all of us in a way that we hadn't expected, and the rest of the year, quite frankly, was horrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
I second that.
Yeah, everything went stagnant after March. Everything everywhere. So, I mean, it's not a fault of the town or of our committee. It's a global happening.
Yeah, and then we had a new town council too that was kind of getting their sea legs underneath them, and they were pulled in a lot of different directions as they are today, and we are in an advisory position on this committee to Mr. Blazak and to help them with anything that they got going. So that's kind of where we've been at the last year. And yeah, it's been difficult, so I'm sure other businesses are the same way also, so.
Sure.
But if we can, Jason, is that possible that we can maybe have some tables set up out in the committee room here and for next month's meeting so that we can, even if they're by the podium
What we can do is we can move this table here. We can put a table or two here.
yep,
We can fit, I think, 4 at the dais and
Yep.
3 down there should be okay. And then
okay.
you can all be on the camera.
Yeah, I think that would serve us well, and then we could, it'd probably be a very constructive meeting then, so. Is everybody in favor of that?
Yes.
Sounds great, John. Sounds great.
Yeah, great. Okay, that's all I have for tonight.
Well, then, I move that we adjourn.
I'll second it.
Very good. Thank you very much. Have a good night. Meeting adjourned.
Take care.
Bye.
Can you
Bye-bye.
stop, please?